A slow, lumbering propeller aircraft, no stealth, no supersonic speed, and yet enemy fighters refuse to engage it at night. Ground troops who hear it overhead stop shaking. Enemy commanders abandon their positions the moment they know it's circling above them. This aircraft has destroyed entire convoys in a single pass. It has leveled armed compounds without missing a single building nearby. It has been called the Angel of Death by the people it hunts, and the Sound of Freedom by the people it protects. This is not a fighter jet. This is not a stealth bomber. This is something far more terrifying, and tonight we're going to show you exactly why. What you just heard is not an exaggeration. Every single word of that is backed by decades of real combat. The aircraft we're talking about has served in Vietnam, the Gulf War, Iraq, Afghanistan, Syria, and just 2 years ago struck Iranian-backed militia targets in Iraq in the middle of the night, alone, with surgical precision. No air cover needed. No escort required. And right now, in 2025, this machine is being rearmed and re-engineered to dominate the next generation of warfare. Stay with us, because what's coming next will change how you see air power forever. Introduction. The aircraft we are talking about is the AC-130 gunship, and its latest version, the AC-130J Ghostrider, is the most powerful, most advanced, and most lethal version of this platform ever built. Now, most people think air power means fighter jets screaming through the sky at twice the speed of sound. But the men who actually fight on the ground, the Army Rangers, the Green Berets, the Navy SEALs, they don't call for a fighter jet when things go bad. They call for the gunship. Because a fighter jet flies over the battlefield in seconds, the gunship circles it for hours. It watches. It waits. And then it strikes with the kind of accuracy that still seems impossible for a propeller-driven aircraft flying in the dark. And right now, this platform is being upgraded with weapons and technology that were once reserved only for frontline fighter jets. We're talking cruise missiles with a range of 400 nautical miles. A brand new radar system pulled straight from F-16 jets. And a debate raging inside the U.S. Air Force about what this aircraft should become as the world moves toward a new kind of warfare. If you think the AC-130 is just an old cargo plane with guns bolted on, you are about to be completely wrong. Drop a comment below and let us know. Did you ever think a propeller plane could be this powerful? Type proud in the comments right now. Birth of the gunship. To understand why the AC-130 is what it is today, you have to go back to where it all began, and it began with a problem that was killing American soldiers. It was the Vietnam War. U.S. forces were moving men and supplies along jungle roads at night, and at night, the enemy owned those roads. Ambushes, mortar attacks, small unit assaults on isolated outposts. The soldiers on the ground needed firepower that could cover a wide area, stay on station for a long time, and hit with enough precision to protect friendly troops just a few hundred feet away. The solution was simple in concept but revolutionary in practice. Take a large transport aircraft, mount weapons on its side, and have it fly in a continuous banking circle around the target. This is called a pylon turn. The aircraft keeps circling while its side-mounted weapons point at the exact same spot on the ground below. It becomes a tornado of steel, circling, watching, and hitting the same target over and over without ever having to line up for another pass. The original AC-130 prototype arrived in Vietnam for testing in September 1967. Within 90 days, it had proven itself beyond any doubt. Enemy troops who had fearlessly attacked U.S. positions at night began disappearing before they could reach the wire. Supply routes that had been ambushed for months suddenly went quiet. The gunship concept worked so well that the U.S. military began expanding and upgrading it immediately. And here is the detail that people forget. The AC-130 was never meant to fight in the daytime. From its very beginning, it was designed to own the night. It carried the earliest forward-looking infrared sensors. It had low-light television cameras when most military aircraft had nothing of the sort. And over the decades, that night fighting advantage only grew stronger. By the time of the Gulf War, the AC-130 was a completely different machine from the Vietnam original. By the time of the wars in Iraq and Afghanistan, it had become the most requested close air support platform in the entire joint force. Commanders who had access to a gunship overhead did not want anything else. And today, the latest version of this aircraft is genuinely in a class by itself. The Ghostrider in detail. The AC-130J Ghostrider is the 5th generation of the gunship family, and calling it an upgrade over earlier versions is like calling a smartphone an upgrade over a payphone. Let's start with what it is physically. The Ghostrider is built on the airframe of the C-130J Super Hercules, one of the most reliable military transport aircraft ever built. Its wingspan stretches 132.6 feet. It is 97.7 feet long. It stands 39.1 feet tall. At maximum takeoff weight, it tips the scales at 164,000 pounds. 4 Rolls-Royce turboprop engines push it to 416 miles per hour with a range of 3,000 miles, and with aerial refueling, that range becomes essentially unlimited. It can fly as high as 28,000 feet, and it can stay over a target area for hours on end. Now the weapons. This is where the Ghostrider becomes something that makes enemy commanders lose sleep. The primary gun is the 105mm Howitzer. This is not a modified weapon. This is a cannon that fires the same shell as land-based artillery. From the air. On a moving aircraft at night. Against targets it identifies with infrared sensors. Let that sink in for a moment. The U.S. military put an artillery piece inside an airplane and made it work, with enough accuracy to protect friendly troops fighting just meters away from the target. Alongside the Howitzer is the 30mm GAU-23A Bushmaster cannon, a rapid-fire weapon capable of tearing through light armor and troop concentrations. And if that isn't enough firepower, the Ghostrider can carry AGM-114 Hellfire missiles, GBU-39 small-diameter bombs, and the AGM-176 Griffin, a precision missile designed for tight, urban environments where you cannot afford to miss. 10 common launch tubes are mounted in the rear cargo door. These tubes fire guided munitions out the back of the aircraft while it circles overhead. The crew inside, 2 pilots, a combat systems officer, a weapons systems officer, a sensor operator, a loadmaster, and 3 gunners coordinate every weapon, every sensor, and every target in real time. This is not just firepower, this is a flying command center with guns. Now here's a question for you. If you were a ground troop in a firefight, which would you rather have overhead, a fast jet that's gone in seconds, or this machine that circles for hours? Tell us your answer in the comments. And the sensor suite that drives all of this? Electro-optical cameras, infrared sensors, and a fire control system that can simultaneously track 2 separate targets up to 1 kilometer apart and engage them with different weapons at the same time. In the dark, in bad weather, from altitudes that make the aircraft nearly invisible and inaudible to people on the ground. Before we go further, please take a second to like this video and subscribe to the channel. Over 98% of viewers watch without subscribing. It costs you nothing but makes a huge difference to us. Real combat, real results. The Ghostrider is not a showpiece. It has been tested in real combat against real enemies under real conditions. On the 21st of November, 2023, the U.S. Air Force released an official statement confirming that an AC-130J had conducted a retaliatory strike on an Iranian-backed militia group in central Iraq near Al-Assad Air Base. The militia had launched a ballistic missile at the base. The Ghostrider was dispatched in response. The strike was executed at night. It was precise, and it sent a message that needed no translation. Earlier, in the campaigns against ISIS in Syria and Iraq, AC-130 gunships worked alongside A-10 Warthogs to destroy an ISIS fuel convoy of more than 100 vehicles in a single operation. 100 vehicles. Gone. In Afghanistan, the gunship became the single most trusted asset for U.S. Special Operations Forces conducting raids in remote areas. When a team was taking fire and needed support, the gunship was their first call. Not because it was the fastest, it wasn't, but because it was the most precise, the most persistent, and the most devastating tool available when the situation on the ground was chaotic and the margin for error was zero. Ground troops gave it a nickname that has stuck for decades, the Angel of Death. Enemy fighters called it something similar. But the U.S. troops it protected called it the Sound of Freedom. Because when you hear the low drone of those 4 turboprops circling overhead in the dark, you know you are going to survive the night. The Black Arrow. A revolution happening right now. Now here is where the story of the AC-130 becomes something truly remarkable. Because in 2025, this aircraft just crossed a threshold that nobody expected it to cross. In November of 2024, a Ghostrider successfully launched a new weapon called the Black Arrow, also known as the Small Cruise Missile, from its rear cargo ramp. This was not a test of an existing weapon on a new platform. This was the first successful guided flight test of an entirely new class of weapon, designed specifically to give the AC-130 a reach it has never had before. The Black Arrow is a low-cost, 200-pound cruise missile built by Leidos. It folds out of a launch tube mounted on the rear ramp of the aircraft, deploys its wing, lights its motor, and flies, guided with precision, to a target that could be 400 nautical miles away. Not 4 miles, not 40 miles, 400 nautical miles. Think about what that means in practice. The Ghostrider circles at a safe altitude, well outside the range of most enemy air defenses. It launches the Black Arrow from its ramp. The missile flies hundreds of miles, navigates to the target, and strikes. The aircraft never had to go anywhere near the threat. The U.S. Special Operations Command has officially called this one of its top priorities, with their Fixed Wing Program officer stating that the Black Arrow is rapidly advancing ASOC's ability to close long-range kill chains. Testing continues throughout 2025. And the program is already expanding. The Black Arrow is being integrated onto MQ-9 Reaper drones and the OA-1K Skyraider 2 light attack aircraft, extending their reach by up to 600 miles with precision strike capability. The AC-130, which was already the most powerful close air support aircraft ever built, is now becoming a standoff strike platform that can reach targets it would never have been able to engage before. This is not an upgrade. This is a transformation. Here's something to think about. With a 400 nautical mile missile, the Ghostrider can strike targets inside a circle of over 125,000 square miles around its position. What kind of target do you think that capability should be used against first? Let us know in the comments. The AESA radar upgrade, seeing everything. And the Black Arrow is not the only major upgrade the Ghostrider is receiving. On the 27th of August 2025, the U.S. Air Force Life Cycle Management Center issued an official notice confirming that U.S. Special Operations Command has selected Northrop Grumman's ANA PG-83 Scalable Agile Beam Radar, known as SABR, to be installed on its entire fleet of special operations. C-130 variants. That includes all 30 AC-130J Ghostriders. This is the same radar system that currently equips U.S. Air Force F-16 fighters. It is an active electronically scanned array radar, an AESA system, which means it can scan multiple areas simultaneously, resist jamming, track moving ground targets over wide areas, and generate targeting coordinates accurate to less than 6 meters. All of that. In any weather. Day or night. Right now, the Ghostrider depends heavily on its electro-optical and infrared cameras to find and track targets. In bad weather, heavy rain, thick cloud cover, dust storms, those sensors are limited. The AESA radar changes that entirely. When the cameras can't see through the clouds, the radar can still map the ground, track vehicles, and generate precise targeting data for the weapons crew inside. The AC-130's greatest limitation has always been operating in degraded weather conditions. That limitation is being removed completely. And alongside the radar upgrade, the Ghostrider is also receiving modernized electronic warfare systems, radio frequency countermeasures to detect and respond to missile threats, and upgraded satellite communications equipment to better link the gunship into the wider Joint Force network, sharing targeting information in real time with other aircraft, ground forces, and command centers simultaneously. Limitations and the future. Now, no honest assessment of any weapon system ignores its limitations, and the AC-130 does have real ones. It is large, it is slow, it has no stealth capability. In an environment with advanced long-range surface-to-air missiles, the kind that China and Russia operate, a Ghostrider flying at its normal combat altitude would be at serious risk. This is not a secret. Senior ASOC leadership has said it publicly. The aircraft's commanding general, Lieutenant General Michael Conley, stated directly that in a peer conflict, the Ghostrider's role would likely be on the periphery, harassing outlying enemy forces rather than flying directly into heavily defended airspace. That is exactly why the Black Arrow and the AESA radar matter so much. They are not just upgrades, they are the AC-130's answer to a changing world. The aircraft that once had to fly directly over its target can now strike from a safe distance. The aircraft that once struggled to operate in bad weather now has a radar that sees through it. The military analysts who say the gunship needs to evolve are right, and the engineers and commanders who are actually evolving it in real time are also right. This is not a platform in decline, this is a platform in transformation. What do you think? Should the U.S. military build a fully stealth version of the gunship for future conflicts? Drop your answer in the comments below. Conclusion. The AC-130J Ghostrider has been in continuous combat service since 1967, 59 years of unbroken operational history. It has fought in every major U.S. conflict in that time. It has protected thousands of American lives. It has eliminated threats that no other platform could reach with the same precision. And right now, in 2025, it is being rebuilt from the inside out to face the next 50 years of warfare. This is not just an aircraft. It is a legacy, built, flown, and fought for by some of the most skilled aviators and special operations professionals this country has ever produced. If this video opened your eyes to the real power of the AC-130, hit the like button right now and subscribe so you never miss another deep dive like this one. The channel grows because of viewers like you, and there is a lot more coming.